Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday free training. At the request of those of you who voted in the poll, there was a tie. So we're talking both about self-compassion and about my Breaking Through Pain program. It sounded like there was some interest in hearing more about that. So for those of you who are attending for the first time, you can find the replays to all of these live trainings in the guide section of this Facebook group, as well as some freebies and other guides there. You can always watch the replay for these. And the last thing I usually say before I start is that I always prepare for these. So if you see me glancing at my notes, I'm trying to stay on track and make sure I provide as much value as I can while we're together. So today we're just talking about that transformation of pain and what that journey looks like. And even though self-compassion seems like such a trendy word and like it's not a big deal, it really is so important for our resilience and creating long-lasting change. My name's Dr. Redmond, for those of you who are new, and I'm so happy to have you all here today, whether you're attending live or the replay. And we're just going to look at how self-compassion can be a powerful tool in navigating the challenges of chronic pain, particularly for high achieving women. So many of us in this group do identify this way. And then I'll tell you a little bit about my program as well as how I weave self-compassion throughout the components of it. As we make it through the program, if you're watching the replay, you can type questions into the chat. Let's talk first about the power of self-compassion and why it matters. You know, it's so important, especially when we're dealing with chronic pain. And what self-compassion is really treating ourselves with kindness, understanding, acceptance, particularly in the face of suffering or something that feels like failure. And there are a few benefits for self-compassion. So one of those is reducing psychological distress. Another is that self-compassion can actually enhance pain coping strategies. And then finally, self-compassion promotes resilience. And when I say the word resilience, I mean the ability to continue to not, I almost said push through, but we don't do that here, to continue to persist, adapting, changing, being flexible, but continuing to move forward in the goal of lifelong change or long-standing change. As we've discussed, self-compassion does offer a multitude of benefits for chronic pain, and it reduces psychological distress because it offers kindness and support to ourselves. It enhances our ability to cope with pain effectively, and it, like I said, it promotes sort of resilience in the face of challenges or bumps along the road. So how do we integrate self-compassion into our daily lives? Let's talk about a few practical strategies. And these strategies can help us acknowledge our pain with kindness. What do I mean by that? Acknowledge our pain with kindness. So sometimes when we acknowledge pain, we are experiencing it in a really negative way. Of course we are. It's really frustrating. Self-compassion means we are experiencing self-pain and trying to do that with a lightness, a curiosity, almost like we are approaching a child. How would we talk and understand things that were happening for a child, right? It's just a little bit of a different approach. So strategies of self-compassion can help us acknowledge our pain with kindness, shift our self-talk toward compassion, prioritize self-care, and then seek support from others and celebrate your strengths along the way. There are several strategies that I weave into the content of my Breaking Through Pain program, but I'll just talk about two really important strategies here, and those are language and the use of rituals for self-compassion. So let's talk about language first. When I talk about language, I'm referring to the way that you talk to yourself when you're facing setbacks or difficulties. So instead of being critical, harsh, self-compassionate language involves speaking to yourself with kindness, encouragement, and understanding. So again, imagine you are talking to your best friend or to a young child. How would you talk to yourself differently if you switch that around? It involves reframing negative self-talk into more supportive and compassionate statements, fostering self-worth and resilience. It involves acknowledging your pain and suffering with kindness and understanding, again, similar to how you would comfort a friend in need. The language really combines mindfulness, which is the practice of being present and aware of your thoughts and feelings without judgment, and with self-compassion. So when we're practicing mindful self-compassion, we're learning, we're strengthening this muscle of responding to our pain and challenges with greater empathy and gentleness toward ourselves. The other thing I want to say about language here is think about the language that you are receiving from your doctors. This is part of a self compassion approach because we want them to be offering this as well and supporting our self compassion toward our pain as well. This needs to be part of their approach. We don't want high threat language coming across in our visits. We want to advocate for low threat, compassionate, recovery based language. In an ideal world, I would love to see our providers and the first line providers with chronic pain sort of model what this looks like. How do we do this in such a frustrating situation? And then the second strategy is self-care rituals. So rituals are different than routines. Rituals are actually very intentional practices that nurture your physical, emotional, and mental well-being. So routine is something that we do eventually automatically without thinking. A ritual is more intentional and with more of a specific purpose. So these can include activities like meditation, exercise, journaling, spending time in nature, engaging in hobbies that bring you joy. And how would you create a ritual around that to make it feel really intentional and really good, that you're offering yourself support and compassion and empathy, right? When you prioritize self-care, you can replenish your energy, reduce your stress level, and this also helps to cultivate a greater sense of compassion and resilience toward ourselves. As we know, and as I'm sure you're all thinking, there are definitely barriers to self-compassion along the way. Like I said, it's really hard in this situation when we have chronic pain to continue to approach it with kindness, right? What is that? But there are a lot of barriers just in our everyday lives that can prevent us from fully embracing self compassion, especially when we're high achievers. So let's talk about some of those barriers and a couple of actionable solutions. So, one of the things that comes up often for women who are high achievers or they're pushing through is time constraints. We just have a lot to do. Another one that comes up is perfectionism, people pleasing. All of this creates pressure, sometimes negativity, self criticism, which is the opposite of self compassion. So these are true barriers that can come up. And the first step is having awareness and insight. And the next step is neutralizing or shifting the language or the inner self talk to a different, more adaptive, more helpful language. One additional barrier that's really prominent is guilt, and I really want to talk about that in more detail. Women who identify as high achievers, they often have demanding schedules, maybe demanding responsibilities. It can really make it challenging to prioritize self compassion and self care. But when they take time for self compassionate practices like rest, relaxation, seeking support, they might feel guilty, right? Why? For not being productive, not meeting others' expectations. There are a lot of reasons why guilt starts to creep in. And addressing this guilt involves recognizing that self care is essential for overall well being and productivity. By prioritizing self compassion, you can replenish your energy, your resilience, and this allows you to show up more effectively in other areas of your lives. So, when you're prioritizing self care, that may look like boundaries, scheduling time for yourself, creating a routine or a daily schedule that prioritizes this, that prioritizes it in a way that you show up for this self-care ritual like you would show up to a doctor appointment. Thing that pops up related to guilt is just that sometimes we can view self-compassion or self-care as selfish or self-indulgent, especially if we're used to putting others' needs before our own. So this can cause us to feel guilty for taking time away or resources away from others to focus on our own well-being. And it's important to challenge this belief by understanding that self compassion isn't selfish, it's necessary. Without self compassion and self care, we're not able to maintain physical, emotional, and mental health. And when we can't maintain those, it means that we're not showing up in the way we want to show up for the things we want to show up with. We're not present in those really important moments. And by prioritizing self compassion, we can become better equipped not only to support others, but to contribute positively to our relationships and also continue along that journey of chronic pain in a more adaptive way. I'd like to share a little bit about how I use self compassion in my Breaking Through Pain program. And I'll talk about that program too, since people were interested. It's a comprehensive, I like to think it's all inclusive program. And I've designed it specifically to help high achieving women like us break free from the interruptions of flare ups, the joy depletion that interrupts what we want to do, and help them reclaim vitality, reclaim joy, reclaim sustained productivity. So, this is specifically designed for those women who identify as high achieving, they're pushing through, they just can't seem to accept their baseline, which is so important for building a recovery. And as we explore the Breaking Through Pain program, I want to highlight how self compassion is woven into every aspect of that journey. So the program isn't just about managing pain, it's really about transforming your relationship with pain with kindness, understanding, but also empowerment. We are take you for many years your pain has been in the power has been in the hands of your providers. We are giving that power back to you so that we can bring you closer to your unique recovery. So I'll give you a brief rundown of what's included, and then I'll talk through how self-compassion is embedded along the way. So the program is called Breaking Through Pain, High Achievers 3-month all-encompassing guide to pain recovery. The goal is to learn to live life without flare-ups, restore joy and vitality, and unlock sustained productivity once and for all. So this is a long-term change that we're seeking. What you get is as a pre-recorded course, right? So you have access to this pre-recorded course for a year. And within that course, you get access to my pain recovery trifecta. And this is what I use to help my clients 3 times their joy and productivity. So you will get to immerse yourself in the wisdom of neuroscience guided mind body wisdom. This will equip you to confront your pain with less fear and apprehension, reshape your narrative, and pinpoint the unique personal elements that are steering your pain cycles. You will also be able to learn and experience that transformational potential of mind body strategies, right? We're trying to guide you toward a journey of nervous system healing and resilience for a less painful and more harmonious existence, so that later you can check things off your to-do list without struggling through brain fog, sleep deprivation, muscle tension, and flare-ups. So first, we get pain neuroscience and we get mind body wisdom. I guide you through all of that. I give you all the tools and strategies that you need. Then I give you my step-by-step process for value-centric motion. What is this? It's an approach to movement that helps build activity while simultaneously preventing flare-ups. So you can live out your ideal day that has been customized just for you. So we're figuring out what it is that you value, what you want to do, and creating a step-by-step plan for how to start, build, and engage more in that. Then you'll get my A to Z guide to customizing pain interrupting rituals. So we will talk about how to design your day, how to insert certain rituals and tools that are helpful so that you can get more restful sleep, find more time for joy and self care, and manage your energy. That way, you're more productive and you have better lifestyle balance. Finally, you'll learn my anti threat system. This is what I use to help my clients disrupt negative thought patterns and reframe counterproductive pain language. So, here we're promoting more empowering pain terminology and we're fostering a more positive emotional state and a resilience mindset, right? So we can see quality of life improve instead of watching people sacrifice who they are to flare ups. So this is all what's included in the pre-recorded course. This is, there's a guide for how to do this in 3 or 4 months, but it's also self-paced. You can do it at your own pace and you have access to it for a year. When you become part of the program, you also get to become part of my VIP client only Facebook group. And this is a group of women who are doing this too. They're going through it right along with you. They support you. And here I'm building a true sisterhood of women cheering each other on. Pain can feel lonely, but I don't want you to feel alone. So that's really the point of the group. It's also a place for announcements, celebrating small wins, and where you can access all of the coaching calls and guest speaker presentations. You'll also get 2 group coaching calls a week. So you can join these interactive group coaching sessions where you'll connect with the other like-minded women in the program. You'll share experiences, gain valuable insights, you receive personalized guidance, and this is a place where you can bring your concerns and your questions about the education you're getting in the course and also the challenges you're having day to day as you're trying to apply everything you learn. We are personalizing this to you. We are getting into the nitty gritty of your day, and we are working through and problem solving together. Along with the pre recorded course, you'll get worksheets and reflection exercises, so powerful tools that are really helping you take actionable steps toward reconnecting what's really important to you and engaging in by engaging in the things that you're learning. And then a bonus is monthly workshops. So I invite guest experts, guest speakers to come and do Q&As and trainings. So we've had a physical therapist, we've done mind-body experiences, yoga, Pilates. I have a physician coming in to talk about medical trauma. We have somatic experiencing coming up. I have a clinical psychologist coming in to talk about, like what happens when we're getting stuck in these patterns and these behavioral patterns and we can't get out of them. So there's always some sort of deep dive happening in these guest expert slots, and they're really lovely. A lot of fun. You get a lot of focused attention because they'll address specific questions, will help you develop personalized strategies, and it's all with the goal of propelling you forward. Okay, and my guarantee is that you'll have a decrease in flare-ups and fear and an increase in quality of life based on a pre and post wellness survey that you'll complete as you start the course. And so really at its core, this Breaking Through Pain program is a comprehensive guide designed to help you get the education that you need to get back to what you love while simultaneously reducing sensitivity and flare-ups. But what I really think sets this program apart is the emphasis on giving you back your power through education and diving into the unique context of your life, because your life is different than someone else's, so that you can really apply what you learn in a way that works for you. And then we're applying self-compassion as a foundational pillar of healing so that these efforts can create long-lasting change and sustained change. So finally, I'm going to walk you through how self-compassion is integrated into each model of the program. So let's start with this neuroscience-guided mind-body wisdom. So we're really diving into the wisdom of neuroscience to better understand pain and its triggers. But we don't stop there. We also explore our pain stories and experiences, and we experience how cultivating self-compassion can help us confront our pain with less fear and apprehension. It helps us reshape our narrative, and it boosts our confidence in navigating daily challenges. Then, when I'm walking you through mind-body connection strategies, we're exploring how to promote nervous system healing and resilience. And beyond the specific techniques that I give you, we emphasize the importance of approaching these practices with self-compassion rather than with pressure, right, for a certain momentary outcome. We recognize that healing isn't about fixing ourselves, but embracing the process. Then, as we work through the anti-threat system, and again, this is the module that focuses on disrupting negative thought patterns and reframing counterproductive language. At its core, it's really about fostering a positive emotional state through self-compassionate language, right? We're looking at recovery-based language as well and mindset shifts. So we're learning to watch our quality of life improve, not by pushing through pain, but by nurturing ourselves with continuous self-compassion and a different approach. Finally, we'll customize these pain interrupting rituals. So here we're exploring personalized rituals for managing pain, improving sleep, increasing productivity. So again, it involves you and I getting into the nitty gritty of your day, looking at your balance, going out an hour. How can we improve what this looks like so that you feel better? How will you apply everything you learned to design your days, then your weeks, then your months, literally to reflect on what you really want? But these rituals aren't just about ticking off tasks, right? They're about prioritizing your values. And through that, we're infusing every behavior, every action, every approach with compassion and intention. As we wrap up here, I really want to thank each of you for joining me today on this journey, kind of talking about self-compassion and also resilience. We talked a little bit about the importance of self-compassion, practical strategies for cultivating it in our daily lives, and common barriers that can get in the way so that we can gain more insight into those barriers. And if you're interested in learning more about the Breaking Through Pain program and how it can support you on your journey, I encourage you to reach out. My DMs are always open, or you can comment me in the comments and I'll reach out so that you and I can start strategizing what your recovery could look like. The question is, what if you utilize rituals and routines for self-compassion to ease in sleep and still struggle? I think two things come to mind when I'm reading this, and this may not apply to you, but these are just the things that come to my mind when I'm reading it. The first is that I think we have to be mindful of our mindset, right? When we're applying tools or strategies, right? So if we are going into this with a mindset of hoping to achieve a certain outcome or desire to achieve a certain outcome, which isn't an unrealistic expectation, but it is one that creates a lot of pressure. Pressure falls under the umbrella of threat versus safety, right? And when our brain perceives more threat, it's going to create more pain and more tension. So, as long as we are engaging in rituals and routines for self care, whether that's around sleep or managing pain or managing stress or tension, we have to be mindful of, are we placing any pressure on ourselves to achieve a certain outcome versus being compassionate about the process, right? So thinking of, and I was just talking to the women in my program about this, especially with mind um, meditation, right? Meditation is an exercise. Often self compassion is really similar. It's an exercise, it's a muscle that we're basically always strengthening. There's no right way to do it or wrong way to do it. It's about continually trying to notice the challenge, right? Accept the challenge and what it can teach us, detach from our emotional reactions, the outcomes we wish we got and we didn't, the pressure we're putting on ourselves, and any other frustration that comes with that. And we're just kind of being with that moment, accepting it for what it is and what we can learn from it. And also just noticing and letting go, noticing and letting go, self compassion and letting go. And it's just a repeated practice. So thinking of this as a practice. So while, yeah, so she's I'm like reading and trying to do this live at the same time. Um, so she noticed that she still has the high expectations when she's doing it. Just like everything else, just like pain, there isn't one thing, right, that's going to resolve sleep problems. Resolving sleep, and we work through this in my course, requires considering a multitude of factors throughout the day, the multitude of factors that wind up our bodies, our nervous systems, our pain alarm system. And so it requires sort of a multi-pronged approach. So I'm not saying that this person is doing this, but I see this a lot where people are pushing through their day and pushing through their day. They're not pacing, they're not prioritizing. There's people pleasing, perfectionism tendencies. And then at the end of the day, they're laying in bed, they turn on their meditation or they start their deep breathing and they wonder why they're still uncomfortable and they can't sleep, right? It's more than just about adding mindfulness and meditation before sleep. We have to also address the other factors if we're trying to achieve a certain outcome. The second thing that came to my mind is just the bigger picture around this, that when we think of the pain alarm system, right, or the brain is always looking to avoid threats and move toward things that feel safe. And so if we think of everything in our lives, things we do, think, say, smell, see, hear, all of it, they all either kind of fall under this threat umbrella or a safety umbrella. And so when I think of self compassion, I think of it as just this huge umbrella that if we can do everything with this mindset of kindness, openness, curiosity, almost like we're a small child, like viewing the world for the first time, or like we're looking at puppies. There's sort of just this curiosity and like a lightness, right? If self compassion and lightness and curiosity and self kindness is the umbrella that covers everything that we are doing for our pain, if all of it is encompassed in sort of this cocoon of self compassion, it's going to be so much more effective for you over the long term. I think what a lot of people struggle with that I talk to and that I work with is that there are these moment to moment sort of episodes of pressure or outcome expectation, and that this happens over the course of a day, right? And when that's happening, there's a lot of threat in that, and not a lot of safety and not a lot of self-compassion and kindness. So this is basically, like I said, just this overarching cocoon we want to wrap all of our pain management strategies in. You can always add questions to the chat if you're watching the replay. Again, if you're interested in diving into this on a much deeper level through my pain program, please feel free to reach out to my DMs. I'm genuinely here to support you, or comment me in the comments and I will reach out to you. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. I will see you next Tuesday. Talk to you soon, and be kind to yourselves.